For those of you who don't know, I wrote a book not long ago, How Long Will You Starve? And in my book, I actually talk about my love for the parables in the Bible. I talk about just my personal journey, but how my relationship and my journey with Jesus really began all through the parables. So we are here to begin the mini series that I said I was going to do. I was on a fast, a personal fast, not a corporate one, and I was on a fast for 6 days. And during those 6 days of fasting, he led me to the book of John, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. And each day, he told me to read the same 12 verses. And I was a little taken aback when he was leading me to do that, but he reminded me that his word is alive and active. And each day that I read those 12 verses, I got new revelation, and I love it. So I just wanted to come on and share what he shared with me, and I hope to encourage you. So let's check out episode 4. Enjoy. Okay, so on day 4, the verse that was highlighted to me was verse number 9. So I'm going to read verse 9 and then we can get into it. When the master of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine and did not know where it came from, but the servants who had drawn the water knew, the master of the feast called the bridegroom. So just a quick reminder for anyone who may be listening that doesn't know what's going on in John chapter 2. This is where Jesus does his first miracle at a wedding, and he changes the water to wine. So in verse 9, the part that was kind of jumping out at me in that verse was where it was talking about the master of the feast not knowing where it came from, where the wine came from when he tasted it. But the servants who had drawn the water, they knew. So the master of the feast did not know where it came from, but the servants knew. And what I took from that was those who are supposed to see it will, or those who are supposed to know it will. God has appointed times for everything. And a lot of times when he calls you to something, when it's something that you're supposed to be doing, or a certain gift that you may have, and he's kind of revealing that to you and you're experiencing it, that gift that's being stirred up inside of you. A lot of times, and rightfully so, you can get excited about it. And the first thing you may want to do is run and tell people about it, especially the people that you love. But that might not always be the wise thing to do. I'm thinking about Joseph. When he was young, I think he was around 17 years old, he had a dream, a prophetic dream, and God showed him his future, and he made the mistake of sharing that dream with his brothers a little too soon, and the end result in telling his brothers about that dream was Joseph ended up in prison. They tried to kill him. Joseph ended up in prison, but that story ended well for him, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But just that whole story with Joseph, he spoke too soon. He should not have told his brothers, but God works all things together for our good. So even though he did, it still worked out in the end for him and everybody else. But there's an appointed time, and I think that it's important to stay in prayer when God is showing you things about your life for several reasons. People, you can't expect that everybody's going to respond the way that, number one, you do, because when God shows you something, a lot of times he's just showing you. Eventually everybody will catch up because God's word does not return to him void. It accomplishes the purpose for which he sent it. But I guess it could go either one of two ways, maybe even a little bit of both. It could be very disappointing on one end, not being able to share something, because if you're in a season where you feel like you're just not being seen, or you're misunderstood, a lot of times you want to speak up for yourself and, like, hey, I did that, or yep, that was me, God helped me do that. You want to speak up about it. But on the flip side, the part you can kind of that can console you a bit is that where it says in verse 9 that the master of the feast who tasted the wine, he didn't know where it came from. He knew it was good wine, but he didn't know where it came from. But the servants knew. So Jesus didn't go around boasting about changing the water to wine. But somebody did know. The people that were up close and personal, his servants, the people in his close circle, they knew. But he didn't make it his business to go out there, and when everybody's ranting and raving about how good this wine is, he wasn't like, that was me, yeah, I did that. No, boasting is not good. And look, 2,000 years later, here I am talking about it. So eventually everybody knew. It's in the Bible, but there was a time for it, and I think Jesus understood that. And boasting in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, where we learn about what love is. Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not boast. You don't have to pump your chest up. It also says in his word that those who humble themselves, before God, in due time, he will exalt you. But if you're exalting yourself, he gonna have to humble you. I think you want the former, not the latter. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got from verse 9. I know I say it in every episode so far, but I think it's important just to serve as a reminder that these episodes are not gonna be that long. It's just to come on here, give a quick word of encouragement, let you know what I got from it, because God's word can grow on you. I encourage you to, if you haven't already, those of you that have been following since episode 1, read John chapter 2. See what you take from it. Expect that God will expand on it for you in your personal life, for it to mean something to you. But God's word, it grows. Just here to kind of plant some seeds, and God will provide the increase. But yeah, be encouraged that if there's something that you're waiting on, maybe a talent, a gift that you have, or just something that God shared with you that's prophetic, that's in the future, and it may seem crazy, but you have faith and you've been sitting with it for a while, so it's a little more real to you than it may be to anybody else. Be encouraged that those who are supposed to see it will, and those who are supposed to know will, and eventually everybody gonna know it. But don't you be the one to go and boast about it. Stay humble, and if you need help with that, it's okay. Pray about it. God will help you. I'm quite sure of it. So yeah, stay encouraged. Pray for me. I will pray for you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.